This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at @BackupBradley and everything we're talking about here today. However, there will be some PDF files that we're going to take a look at. I will try to provide those in the comment section for you because they are not online. So with that being said, let's do our numbers. Today's numbers are brought to you by PureVPN. Guys, I use many different layers for my protection of anonymity online and my security. VPN is certainly one of those layers that I use. Make sure you check out the link in the description. 7-day trial for 99 cents and some other great stuff there as well if you may need it. So let's go ahead and do the numbers. Bitcoin is $10,751.18. Ethereum, $357.19. XRP is 24 cents. After the information we take a look at, I don't know how it's going to be 24 cents for much longer. I could tell you that. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. 0.2452 this morning for XRP. The market cap is 11 billion plus. The 24-hour volume is up about 0.6%. 1.4 billion plus this morning, and the total circulating supply came up again last night. Shout out to Hiding Out Now. I actually saw it, but he is so quick. I just can never seem to catch it as quick as he does. 45,136,000,000. It came up approximately 39 million or so, excuse me. I believe I said 41 million on my tweet last night, and I'll get some flashcards and work on my math over the weekend. So there we have it. Let's go ahead and get into this. We got a lot to cover, but I'll tell you what, it's pretty exciting. I cannot wait to show you all of this information laid out this morning. We start with a reminder that Bahamas is beginning to gradually launch the world's first central bank digital currency in October called the Sand Dollar. The digital currency will be gradually phased in, not airdropped. So it's important to know that. Thank you to Bond Crip, XRP Crypto Wolf, and Jesus, and Michael Val 5 links. How could I forget Michael? I couldn't forget Michael ever. So there we go. So now this was from XRP Crypto Wolf this morning. Americans are warming up to a digital dollar. The percentage of Americans interested in U.S. dollar has nearly doubled in the last year. Nearly 25% of surveyed Americans want a digital dollar in place of the U.S. dollar. Well, I'll tell you something. It's a pretty good thing because I don't really think they have a choice in the matter. So I think 75% of the people out here are about to get a huge surprise not too far from now. All right, so now we shift to a more international level of things. And before we do, I want to share with you that, something we've learned on this channel is that, it really does come down to an international cooperation to bring in and usher in this new financial system. And it starts on an international global level, and then everything else, they create a framework, study groups, cooperation, then the framework, and then from there, it goes to the respective countries, and they drill down within inside of that loose framework of guidance to really bring home the structure of regulatory framework within the respective countries. What we're looking at right here is from G20, and Saudi Arabia is the president of the G20 this particular year. So shaping new frontiers, I want to start with this, enabling the digital economy. And this is a great video today because, this is going to let all of us know, even though we're not going to read anything that says specifically Ripple or XRP in the G20 information, we will see it somewhere else. But, we're also going to look at some BIS information and a video from Benoit Coyer as well. They don't specifically in those pieces of information say Ripple or XRP, but understanding how long we've been in this space, and even if you're new, Ripple has been working within the government system, in the regulatory system from day one. Everything they do has governance and compliance either built into it or in their protocol process. So that is important to note. So enabling digital economy, advances in digital technology are transforming the global economy and considerably impacting people, markets, and governments. While these developments assist in advancing productivity and innovation, they raise questions for labor markets, business models, and institutions. The G20 will continue to address these challenges throughout the presidency year, including the implications for future skill needs, enabling businesses to take advantages of the digital economy, and defining the framework for a trustworthy human-centered economy as well. Okay, so now moving here is another portion of the same page that I wanted to address, addressing the entry of big tech in finance. This is the G20 addressing the entry of big tech into finance. Our collective public governance is challenged by the entry of large technology firms in financial services. I repeat, our collective public governance is challenged by the entry of large technology firms in financial services. Huge. A concreted effort is needed from the G20 to tackle all aspects of the phenomenon, including financial stability, implications on conduct of monetary policy, and the functioning of government debt markets, ensuring a level playing field with financial institutions and data protection issues, as well as the potential impact of private currencies issuance at a large scale. The G20 should consider the impact on regulatory framework and coordinate collective actions to reap the benefits from such technologies while tackling associated challenges. Now, to me, that is telling you, if you are anti-bank, anti-government, look, the libertarian in me just says, that's amazing. But, the reality is when I see that, I see a collective effort of many different governments around the world on the G20 agreeing that, yeah, as fantastic as all of this is, we're going to find a way to regulate it. Because we're not going to let it get bigger than we are. Combating corruption poses a serious threat to national and international stability. It impedes economic growth and erodes trust between government and citizens. G20 members will cooperate to continue implementing the G20 Anti-Corruption Action Plan through 21. This focuses on the promotion of integrity using information and communications technology they call ICT, and integrity and privatization and public and private partnerships. Where we hear this all the time about the governments are not innovators. They need help. Who can bring that expediency and the implementation of this new technology in a flash, just like that? It's the private companies. It's the private companies that are out here in this fintech world that have developed the software and the technology to get the job done, and they can easily expand into these relationships of public and private partnerships, as well as the development and implementation of a national anti-corruption policies and strategies. Okay, now we're going to a clip here. This is Benoit Coyer from the BIS. The BIS, the Bank of International Settlements, is essentially the central bank of central banks. That's how it's referred to. And they have currently, over the last couple months in the summer, have begun an innovation hub with many of the other large central banks around the world, including the Federal Reserve out of New York. And it is specifically an innovation hub to implement and develop solutions for a new financial system. And listen to what he says here. Now, I know Benoit has a very strong accent, but we're going to need to listen to the next few minutes here of what he says, because it really does show you what's happening from the BIS. Listen to this.
Digital payments and central bank digital currency, CBDC, are an important part of our agenda. As of mid-July 2020, at least 36 central banks had published research into retail or wholesale CBDC.
I just want to say, this is the head of the BIS telling you that central bank digital currencies are a huge, important part of what they're pursuing right now. The central bank of central banks just told you that this is a massive, on the top of the list to get this done.
While no major jurisdiction has of yet decided to issue a retail CBDC, several projects have reached the pilot phase. Going forward, enhancing coordination and taking steps to prevent or reduce fragmentation in cross-border payment systems are public sector priorities.
That's funny. They're working very hard to reduce the fragmentation that exists in the payment systems, right? That's really funny because guess what? So's Ripple. Ripple is a blockchain infrastructure company. That's exactly what they've been doing.
Embodied in the request by the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors to the Financial Stability Board, together with the BIS's Committee on Payment and Market Infrastructures, other international organizations and standard-setting bodies, to develop a roadmap to enhance cross-border payments. Exploring the potential of next-generation multilateral cross-border payment platforms will be a key focus for the BIS Innovation Hub. One such project underway at our Singapore Center examines how digital identity and payment rails could be interlinked to create a global stack. But the digital transition beyond payments, particularly the development and application of regulatory technology, RegTech, and supervisory technology, SupTech, is also a key area of interest. Over recent years, there has been growing interest from financial institutions and the official sector in the use of technology to support new business models and to solve regulatory and compliance requirements more effectively and efficiently. The potential collective benefits for regulated entities and supervisory authorities to improve efficiency, reduce manual processes, make effective use of data are enormous. To this end, the BIS Innovation Hub, through its center in Singapore and together with the Saudi G20 presidency.
The Saudi G20 presidency, this is all tied together. It's about cross-border payments. He's telling you this. It's so exciting to me. Keep listening.
This year co-hosted the first global virtual tech sprint initiative. Fintech firms were invited to develop innovative, technological, and deployable solutions to address real-life challenges identified by supervisory authorities. This was undertaken using the API Exchange, APIX, the world's first cross-border open architecture API marketplace and sandbox platform in which participants can integrate and test solutions with each other via a cloud-based architecture. Other Innovation Hub projects contribute to the RegTech and SupTech agenda. Our Swiss center is developing a prototype of a central bank-specific, real-time capable market monitoring tool. The cloud-based stream processing platform will process real-time financial data and compute relevant liquidity and market risk metrics. This will provide central banks with overviews of market conditions via customized dashboards and real-time alerts. And we have many projects that go beyond RegTech and SupTech. In August, the Hub Center in Hong Kong and the Hong Kong Monetary Authority launched the Tech Challenge Digitizing Trade Finance initiative to highlight the potential for new technologies to enhance trade finance mechanisms, trade tech. Private firms were invited to submit innovative solutions focusing on connecting trade tech platforms, tech-driven trade finance inclusion for SMEs, and trade tech infrastructure for emerging markets. In the coming months and years, as the world deals with the fallout of the pandemic and the shift towards digital finance evolves and accelerates, the Innovation Hub will work on finding real solutions based on practical projects to address ever more complex problems across an expanding range of areas.
And I want to stop right there because here it is in short. Oh, it's happening. It's happening in a big way. You have Benoit Coyer, the head of the BIS, sitting here telling you that they're working with the G20, the FSB, they're working with all the other central banks in the Innovation Hub, and they are not making any bones about it. Now, it's not in their interest to say Ripple or XRP, but they're telling you that this is about cross-border payments and a new financial payment rails. This, to me, is absolutely remarkable. Now, let's go to a document here, again, from the BIS. And I want to bring this out. First of all, it's 60 pages. I will put it in the comment section for all of you to go through. I didn't find any reference to Ripple or XRP, but do you have to? Do you have to? I don't think that you do. I certainly don't, because I understand where RippleNet is. I understand that RippleNet and Ripple as a company and what they've done and what they've built. I understand that Ripple has been brought on to the ISO 2022 Standards Body Committee, which is the standard for coding language or payment processing network system that they're using, the standard for payments for all the financial institutions around the world. And Ripple is the only one on that committee that is there to bring on the implementation of distributed ledger technology. Come on in. All right, looking at this document, I'm only going to show a few things here. One is the speed of cross-border payments. This is from the BIS. Finding based on SWIFT GPI data. It says analysis data from SWIFT Global Payments Innovation, known as GPI, provides useful insight into issues that affect speed of cross-border payments. SWIFT GPI is a set of business rules and digital tools newly developed around 4 core principles: setting a payment within the same business day, monitoring payment status in real time, providing transparency of fees all along with the payment chain, which we learned from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in the United States, which really made a rule effective for that exact thing and approved SWIFT GPI and Ripple and XRP as effective for settlement in those areas. And also passing on unaltered remittance information to identify the underlying reason for the payment. The following analysis is based on data from the fourth quarter 2019 only, including those end-to-end GPI payments that cross jurisdictional borders and involve more than one financial group. These payments cover 42% of all cross-border payments on SWIFT by volume and 46% by value. By definition, the data exclude all payments that are not on SWIFT, primarily lower value payments and remittances. I remember Mr. Ahmed from PayPal talking about lower value payments because they're not on SWIFT, essentially. They are PayPal. And basically what he was talking about is they could be using something like Ripple and XRP right now for those low value payments. Okay, so now I'm going to jump past a bunch of amazing stuff in this document because it goes on to talk about the cross-border payments and new infrastructure and building it. I will share it for you. And shout out to Big Skinny because he went down a rabbit hole and just document dumped me last night. And I have been reading all of this stuff. And I want to get down to a certain page here towards the end, if I could here. Let me keep going. They talk about stable coins. They talk about global stable coins, pursuing interlinking of payment systems for cross-border payments. I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, the Interledger Protocol. All right. Well, there we go. We keep going. All right. So here we go. Now we come down to where I want to really bring this home for this particular point of this document. There's many people on this cross-border payments task force. One at the top just happens to be Victoria Cleland from the Bank of England, which is the same person who said last year that she expects a big bang cutover. That's what she said. Now, she also walked it back after she said that, but the reality is she did say it. And let me find the comment where she said this. Now, she is an executive director, by the way, at the Bank of England, right? Okay. Here we go. Let's see. I'm trying to find the exact place that she said this. But this is the article where she said it. I'm just trying to avoid reading you the whole article here right now. Let's see. Here we go. I believe it's right here. Victoria Cleland, Executive Director of Banking, Payments and Innovation at the Bank of England. I expect a big bang cutover because what you have with RTGS is a core ledger supporting payment transactions worth hundreds of billions of pounds a day. We can't have some members on it while others aren't. I'm reminded of Bob Way's comments about synchronization and about how once two banks use it, that's it. It's on. And I really do see it that way, because if you don't do it as everyone on at the same time, how do you come up with the pecking order that says you stay on the bench, but you get to go? I don't think it works that way at all. So I agree with her. I do think it is going to be a big bang cutover myself. And the question is if they do a big bang cutover, will they do it in a measured way? Because then she goes on to say, after talks with the Bank of England, internal IT department, it is likely the bank will keep the existing system up and running alongside the new one for a period as a fallback. So if there was any problem, we know we could recover back to that, said Cleland. Now, she did go on to walk that back and say we're some time away from this. But I think with what we've learned since last year, I believe we're actually a lot closer than they let on. I really do. And maybe I'm the eternal optimist, and I'll make the video if I'm wrong. But it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it to plant a flag on the moon. I'm just saying it because the things that we've learned, everything that we've watched, it feels like this is imminent where we're going here. Because look at the entities we're talking about, the BIS, we're talking about the Bank of England, we're talking about the G20. This is topics that are being covered. It's pretty remarkable. Don't forget that the IMF meets in October here in just a couple weeks, and we're just going to have to sit back and see what they talk about. Because, I'm curious as if they talk about, the currencies, the major currencies that sit in the SDR basket. And will we see an external adjustment to the U.S. dollar as the webinar that they covered just about a month ago? So it gets interesting from here. So now, reminder that, and here we have the World Economic Forum as another group that's talking about the idea of a new financial system that could be settled in intra-bank payments and settlement from central banks using either JPM coin or XRP. Funny enough to that is that the woman that drafted that document for the World Economic Forum, for which Brad Garlinghouse attended in January, her name is Sheila Warren, and she's getting ready to speak in a couple weeks at Swell. The head of blockchain digital asset teams at the World Economic Forum, who drafted this document and thought XRP is the solution for all of that settlement between central banks, will be speaking at Swell. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. The G20, the BIS, the World Economic Forum, the FSB, everybody is all in, is the way I'm seeing it. And it's pretty remarkable. I feel like with what we're learning and what we're seeing here, and then domestically, what we're seeing roll out with the SEC, the OCC, who's next? Because I feel like where we're going here is a point of no return. Things aren't changing. We're moving through a transformation, and we will never return to the old way. That's what's pretty remarkable to me. All right, that's going to do it for me today. Hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below, and make sure you share with somebody you know. I'll catch all of you on the next one.